So the question says, a track measures 1/4 of a mile per lap. So let's note that. 1/4, that's 1/4 of a lap. So let me write that. 1/4 mile is 1 lap. Then how many laps are needed to run 6 miles? We want 6 miles. We want the equivalent of lap that will be for 6 miles. We just what 6 multiplied by 4/1, and that is going to be 24 laps. 24 laps, and that is C. That is C. A baker made 72 pies. One group buys 1/4. So let's find 1/4 of that. 1/4. 1/4 of 72. Then that will be what? 4 divided by 7. That will be 1. That it remains 3. With that 2, that will be 32. That will be 8. So that means 8 is out. 18 is out of 72. Because the question says another buys 1/3 of the remaining. So this is now a key word. So let's find the remaining. After 1/4 is out, let's find the remaining from that. So that is going to be what? 72 minus 18. So what do we have here? That is going to be, let's see, 72, 18. This is going to be 12. That will be 4. This is now 6 minus that. That will be 5. So that is 54. Let's find 1/3 of 54. So that is going to be what? How many 3 in 5? 1. It remains 2. That will be 24. How many 3 in that? 18 again. So 54 minus 18 now. So let's see, what way do we have? Let's subtract 18 from here again. That is going to be 14. That will be what? That will be 6. Then this is now 4. That will be 3. So this is 36 now. Then and another buys 1/6 of the remaining pies after that. So 1/6 of 36. That is what? 6. Then the question is now, how many pies remain? So let's subtract 6 from here. That is going to be 30. So it's going to be remaining pie is what? 30. We have 30 pies remains. And that is C. That is C. So the question says a car travels 150 miles in 3 hours and 210 miles in 3 hours again. What is the average speed of the entire trip? So average speed, normally speed is distance over time. So when it is average speed is total distance traveled divided by total time taken for that journey. And that is going to be, what do we have as distance? We have two distances, 150 plus 210. Then 3 plus 3. That is going to be what? 150 plus 210. Let's put it. 063. 360. So 360 divided by 6. That is going to be how many 6 in 360? That will be 60 miles per hour. And the answer is B. The answer is B. As an event starts at 8:15 a.m. and ends at 12:40 p.m. How long is the event? We want to know the difference between them. So write the one that has to do with hour and something like minutes. So put like hour, put minutes, then 12:40, then 8:15. That's it. So 40 minus 15, that is going to be what? That will be 25 minutes. That will be 25 minutes. Then 12 minus 8, that is 4. I mean, that is so. That will be 4 hours, 25 minutes. See what we have here. An accounting firm employee is asked to process 1,080 files If she can process files at a rate of 9 per minute, 9 per minute, how many files remain after 1.5 hours? I will just write 9 files in 1 minute. We process in 1 hour, in 1.5 hours, so that we can now know how many will remain after. The hours to minutes, let's convert it. So we know that one hour is what? 60 minutes. Then half hour will be 30 minutes. So the whole of 1.5 hours will be 90 minutes. Will be 90 minutes. So we processed in 90 minutes. 90 by 9, what is that? 0. 9 times 9, 81. So this is going to be 810 files in 90 minutes. Half hour. Remaining files will be what? 1080 minus 810. So 1080, 810. Let's subtract 0, 7, then 10 minus 8, 2. So that is going to be 270 files. So the remaining will be 270, and that is A. That is A. Marcus' car can only reach a speed of 60 miles per hour. In 1 hour, 60 miles. If he drives at top speed, how long will it take him to travel 180 miles? So if you look at, we are having 60 miles in 1 hour. Then talking about driving at the speed, that top speed, how long? We are looking for time. What time will be for him to travel to have 180 miles? Based on that one. Based on that. So if it is 60 miles per hour, then what do we need? That will just be 180 divided by 60. Let's find that. It's going to be 3 what? 3 hours. 3 hours. So at 60, like 60 miles, that is 1 hour. So it's just like, how many 60 will you have in 180? How many 60? And the answer is C. If in a circle, the central angles are these 3 now. Let's call it this thing. Let's call it S, Y, Z. X, Y, and the last one Z. What is the value of X? So now, the question is talking about the central angle. Angle on a point. The sum of angles on a point will be what? 360 degrees. So that is one of the principles we need to. So that will make X plus Y plus Z. Like I represented all those values by using X, Y, Z. Then that will be equal to what? 360 degrees. Being the sum of what? Angles at a point. Angles on a point. So that will now make us to have 2x plus 10 plus 3x plus 20 plus 5x minus 30 is 360 degrees. The question asks us to find x. We want to find the x of those 2x of those things. Let's combine the like terms. Those with x and those without x. Take them together. 2x, 3x, 5x. That will be 10x. Then plus 10 plus 20 minus 30. That will be 0. Equal to 360 degrees. Because we are having 10, 20. That is 10 plus 20. 10 plus 20, 30. Minus 30. That will be 0. So now 10x is 360. Divide both sides by 10. Then x is going to be what? 36 degrees. Or 36. So answer is C. Answer is C. A point. The sum of angle on a point will give you 360 degrees. So put all these, each of these, put them together, add them together. Let them be x, y, z. Add them together, make it equal to 360 degrees. Then find your x. Once you get x, meanwhile we have calculated x. So our x from that side, our x was 36. From here, we calculated x to be 36 because that should be the first thing to do. Our x 36. So this 10 and 20 with that negative 30, they will turn to 0. So x is 36. Then put 2x plus 10. 3x plus 20. 5x minus 30. So put x into each of them. Put x into each of them and see what you have. Put 2 multiplied by 36 plus 10. That will be 72 plus 10. This is 82 degree. 3 times 36 plus 20. That will be 18. That will be 108 plus 20. 8 to 128. 128 degree. 5 times 36 minus 30. That will be 36 times 5. That is 30. Let's keep 3. That is 18. 3 times 5, 15 plus 3, 18. 180 degree. So you can, let's check which one is our answer there. The question asks us to find use of the angles. If the average of 5 consecutive numbers is 26, what is the largest number? Average of 5 consecutive number is 26. So it means the center of that number is what? 26. So I will say average. Average is 26, and it means middle number is also 26. So talking about 5 consecutive, that is going to make 26 at the center. To the back of 26, that will be 27, 28. To the front of 26, that will be 25 and 24. Now, what is the largest number? The largest number will be 28 and 8. Our answer is 8. The method will be like 5 consecutive integer, average of it is 25. Find the total number. If you find the total number will be 5 times 26. So if you find total number, let's see, 26 times 5, that is 30. Let's keep 3, that is 10 and 13. So that is 130. So if you're having 130 as the total, as the sum, I will say let n be first one, then that will be plus n plus 1, plus n plus 2, plus n plus 3, plus n plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we now be equal to 130. Then we can find n. That means you can find the first number. Let's add all those n together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5n. 1 plus 2, 3. 3 plus 3, that is 6. 6 plus 4, 10. Equal to 130. 5n is 130 minus 10. 5n is 120. Find n. N is going to be what? N is going to be 5 divided by 120. That will be 2. It will mean 2. That will be 24. Yeah, and that is the first number there. So if you are talking about the largest number is going to be n plus 4. So that will be 24 plus 4, and that is 28, which the same thing that we got.